tonight, we realized that there's some icy patches down on the other side of the building. So we are way too big a room for this amount of people. So thanks for sitting up close. Good evening, Memory. Glad to have you here. And I hear we got about 25 homes already checking in online. Is that right, Luke? Great. So for those of you joining us online, thanks for joining us online. For those of you in person, thanks for joining us in person. So this is a chapel family conversation. And so just to help you understand what tonight will look like, I'm going to pass the mic first to James, who will give us a financial update. 1 second, James, I'll get there. Then I'm going to pass the mic to Trav, who will talk about elder nominations and our 50th year celebration program or plan. And then we'll go back to James to get an outdoor structure update on that iced over construction pit out there and what we're looking forward to in the future. Our job is to not talk too much. Then we'll open it up to questions. So if you are online and you have a question, if you type it into the chat box, Luke will be sharing questions with us.
I will. You'll hear my voice from up here if it happens.
The voice of Luke.
So don't be afraid.
Nice. And hopefully if you guys have questions, the mics here will pick that up for the people online. So ask your question with a good voice, and we can repeat it into our microphones if we need to. But thank you for being here tonight. It's fun to be a family and to have a family meeting. So let me pray for us, and then we'll get going. Jesus, thank you again that you have made us a family, not because of anything we've done, but because you have united us. Through your death and resurrection, through your blood, we get to be brothers and sisters and heirs according to the great promise. So, Jesus, thank you that we can gather and get on the same page, that we can be excited about all the things that you are doing in this place and in our lives. And Jesus, thank you that we can ask questions. And I pray that as we leave tonight, we would be more unified, more excited about what you're doing, and more informed about what's going on. Thanks for all these things. In your name we pray. Amen. First up is James.
So bright. Sorry, I'm not a pro like these guys. I'm not used to the really bright lights that reflect off my glasses here. So I wanted to share, I'm going to come forward just a bit, if that's okay with everyone. I'll stand here. So I wanted to share a financial update, just kind of where we are for 2025. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is the generosity of the church family. You know, the generosity in 2025 was great. We did finish a little down. I'm going to get into some of those details of that. So for 2025, we had a budget of $3,625,000. We received $3,584,641. So we received 98.9% of our budget. We were off by 1.1%, which doesn't excite me. And I've been holding out just a little bit because the mail has been incredibly slow this year. We are still seeing contributions come in. We've also seen some expenses come in that have arrived late. So we're hoping that we will actually get that additional 1%. But I would say that that puts us pretty much on budget for 2025 for where we were. With regard to expenses, the expenses were $3,357,000. $3,357,388.91. So we'll actually end 2025 with a surplus of $227,000. So even though we were 1% behind, I think one thing that turned out really well for us was expense management. The ramp system has just proven its weight in gold. We've been able to see trends. We've been able to adjust to them. We saw opportunities where we could save some money. We also had some opportunities where certain things were paid for out of our restricted accounts and not out of the general fund. So that's why this is a reflection of that surplus. Now for 2026, we actually are increasing our budget. So we're going to be moving our budget to $3,675,000 for 2026. It's about a 1.38% increase. So we're not beating inflation or at the inflation rate like we did last year. We're a little bit below, but we wanted to stay really conservative on our budget increase for this year. We're still budgeting in the same parameters that the elders set for us, which is the 50, 30, 10, 10. So it's 50 for personnel, 30% for programming, 10% for giving, and 10% for saving. So we're still using those parameters in our budget, and we have a really robust budget for this year. Our budget is, we've had some personnel increases, so we have a 55%. The elders give us a plus or minus 5% on those percentages, and we're working well within those. And that's it for in terms of the budget for last year, where we are last year, where we're going this year. And I wanted to do less talking this year and see if there were any questions so I could answer questions. Yes?
I have a question. The budget for last year, we were down 1% against, but we had the surplus. What were the things that were originally budgeted that we did not pay for?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Oh, I need to repeat the question? Oh, yeah. Okay, so the question was, why do we have a resulting surplus, correct?
Yeah, what did we not pay for?
Yeah,
What did we plan to pay for?
great question. So there are a couple of things. One of the big things is tuition reimbursement. So we budget for $30,000 for tuition reimbursement for staff. No one took advantage of that, so that's kind of reflected in that number. Some of it was just we were able to get better cost and better breaks on things. So we negotiated certain things to save costs. Some of our electrical water cost was a little lower. So all of those things kind of add up into that. Any other questions? Yes.
Was there an expense or an effort in 2025 that you deferred and are now doing in 26?
No. So the question was there an expense or effort that we deferred in 2025 that we're now doing in 2026? So on the expense side, no. Most of the things that we had budgeted, we did do and take advantage of. Yes. Any other questions? I do have one more thing I want to show. I have a slide here. So we've realized that during the service, sometimes we use terms like year to date, expense year to date, budget year to date. We felt like having a graphic here that shows the month and the year were clearer. So starting in February, when we do our spiritual and financial update and online now, you're going to see this graphic. And this bar graph, we feel like better depicts very clearly what the pastors are saying when they come up and give the spiritual and financial update. At the end of 2025, November, some people believed that we were 130% for the year, and that wasn't exactly correct. What Travis said, we were 130% for the month, but we realized that if we had a graphic like this would have better depicted that for everyone. So this is something new that you can look forward to seeing in 2026. Yes?
Is there going to be a slide on the Agape Fund? What kind of funds came in? What's the balance now? What came in? What came out? Is there anything about that?
So we normally do that at the annual meeting, but I was prepared to some degree. So let me just give you an idea of some of that. So and this is really phenomenal, for 2025, Agape spent $227,000 helping the community, which is just phenomenal.
That is phenomenal.
That's phenomenal. And I also want to point out something very interesting in the giving too. That 1%, 1.1% we're off, we actually saw a big increase going to Agape in December. So it didn't go to the general fund, but it still came into the chapel. So when we talk about the finances, we stay very focused on general fund, but just big picture. The chapel brought in $4.04 million last year. Almost 400,000 of that went to designated missions, to agape, to different restricted funds that have unique purposes that are outside of the budget. So there is a little bigger picture on that. I hope that answers your question.
I have a question from online too.
Yes.
Oh, I saw a hand down there. Sorry, was that? Oh, Greg. I'm interrupting Greg. I'm sorry. From online, just Sharon, want to know how many staff are represented in that 55%? And step back a little bit into the light, James. You're dark online.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. How many staff in the 55% in the budget?
27. Yes.
Did the surplus of 25 have an effect on the increase, the
1.38%
increase for 26?
So a little bit. We factored that in, but we were more focused on balanced budget, the expenses that we needed to cover for the year. So based upon the expenses we had for year, that's why we moved the budget up to that number.
The outdoor structure, is that accounted for in the surplus?
So here's the beauty of the outdoor structure. Because of the chapel's giving, that money's been set aside. So that's outside of the budget. That money was set aside by the elders several years ago, and that's what's paying for the outdoor structure. Any more questions online, Luke? No? Any more questions here in the room? Okay. All right. Thank you. Trav.
And we'll have time for some more Q&A at the end, too. So we want this to be the chapel family conversation. If there's anything on your mind related to what we talk about or what happens or what's on your heart. But as Rich said in the lead pastor's update tonight, two things I want to talk about: our elder nomination process and our 50th anniversary in 2026. So first, the elder nomination process. We take our nominations for our upcoming elder election at the annual meeting in April in the month of January. So hopefully this is a core part of the chapel family here. Rich let me know there are 40 households online as well. So welcome to those joining us online. Sorry, I lost the camera. Welcome to those joining online this evening. So hopefully this is a core part of the chapel family. The month of January ends on Saturday. So if you are thinking of nominating someone for our 2026 elder process, Saturday would be that last minute to do that. And just two quick scripture references as you think about potential nominations. Peter writes in 1 Peter chapter 5, "So I exhort the elders among you, as a fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, as well as a partaker in the glory that is going to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight." And I like to see this word oversight, which comes up here in 1 Peter. I'll read it. Also comes up in 1 Timothy. It comes up in Acts 20 when Paul is talking to the elders at Ephesus there. This word oversight as a one-word job description for what the elders do. Paul writes to Timothy in 1 Timothy 3, "This saying is trustworthy. If anyone aspires to the office of overseer, he desires a noble task." He doesn't even use the word elder. He calls it the office of overseer. That what this role does is it provides wise oversight for the ministries of the chapel. For me, as the lead pastor of the chapel, wise oversight, important accountability. And so when you think about this, when you think about your nominations, oversight is a skill. Oversight is something that some people really excel at, and other people, they want to get their hands dirty. They want to put their hands in the mud. And the Bible has a name for those people with those kinds of gifts too. They're called deacons. The word deacon in the New Testament literally means servant. And if you look at the character qualifications, which is what Paul does next in 1 Timothy 3, they're very similar to the qualifications for elder. I always say sometimes people imagine that being on the elder team is like playing at the varsity level and everything else is just JV ball. That couldn't be further from the truth. That Paul writes in 1 Corinthians, the eye cannot say to the ear, I have no need of you. For where would the sense of hearing be? And the ear can't say to the eye, I have no need of you. For where would the sight be? There are just different gifts in the body made for different purposes in the body. So when you think about the role of elder here, the big thing that they do is they oversee. They look at stuff. It's kind of the way I describe it is it's eyes on, hands off kind of a role. And so if you like looking at a lot of stuff but not touching it, it's a great role. If you like to touch stuff, you will get so frustrated by this primary role of oversight that gets articulated throughout the New Testament when it comes to this role. So please, core of the chapel family gathered for our chapel family conversations, would you consider who among our membership may have gifts particularly suited for oversight, and make those nominations, and the elder nominating committee will review them. I'll tell you how that review process works. In the month of February, we will host our elder education program for interested nominees. Nominees are asked to complete a self-assessment as well as a staff reference. At the end of February, the elder nominating committee conducts interviews after they go through the elder education program and learn more about the biblical foundations for eldership, how that gets applied here at the chapel, their self-assessment, their recommendation. If they still want to move forward, they get interviewed by the nominating committee at the end of February, and then the ENC meets in March to finalize a slate of candidates to recommend to the elders for approval. So the elders of the chapel approve the slate. They don't approve individual names. That's up to the nominating committee, but they can accept or reject the slate as presented by the nominating committee. The candidate details will be communicated to the congregation after Easter. And this is always something that we look at with the timing of our annual meeting. We want Easter to be about Easter. We don't want Easter to be about the warehouse background stuff going on in church business. We want it to be an all-out celebration of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So even though some of the process may be complete, we'll move through Easter focused on Jesus' resurrection, and then we will share all of that information with the congregation, and we'll host our Meet the Candidates night on April 22nd and the annual meeting on April 29th. So we always give a week between when everyone's able to meet the candidates, ask their questions, hear what the candidates have to say, and then we will have our annual meeting and vote on the 29th. And we will be electing one new elder at the annual meeting. Terry Lowe will complete his second 3-year term. We're so grateful for Terry, his service. I look forward to where else Terry is going to serve after this. I even have a couple of assignments maybe outside of the chapel that I may try to drag him to with me. We'll see how that goes. Terry doesn't know that, so he's actually traveling right now. So Terry, I got some ideas for when you're done.
He's online.
Terry, we'll talk. But Terry will complete his second 3-year term, and we'll be electing one new elder. The elders have voted to appoint Jeff Bauer to his second 3-year term. So Jeff has completed his first term, and there was an appointment slot available. And everyone that receives an appointment for a second term goes through something called the second term discernment process. So the elders have a second term discernment process to walk an elder through. They get input from other elders. They meet with the executive committee. It's a wonderful process that has been in place for a few years now. And Jeff went through that process, and he has received that appointment and looks forward to continuing for another 3 years on our elder team. All right, our 50th anniversary. The chapel was founded the first Sunday of October, 1976. So this first Sunday in October 2026 is 50 years of Jesus working through the ministries of the chapel. Let me just say, to God be the glory, great things he has done. And so what our 50th anniversary celebration is going to be all about is two words: glory, gratitude. To God be the glory, great things he has done. So we're going to step back. We are going to take in the grandeur of all God has done. We're going to give him the glory. We're going to say there is no human being that accomplished any of this. This church has been the sovereign work of the triune God since the beginning. We depend on him and him alone for our next, the next phase of our life as a family of faith. So we're going to look back, give him the glory, say thank you, and then move into a new season together. So there'll be more on that at the annual meeting. Okay, there are more details, events, celebrations, dates, but tonight, what I want to say is we want to start asking for stories. So we're putting together a lot of things, some videos, some testimonials. We're looking for stories, a memory, an expression of gratitude in several ways. So first, you can go online, wcchapel.org/50. And my team's great. They do it lots of different ways. You can put in 50th. You can put in 50th anniversary. It'll all get you to the same place. But the number 50 makes sense to me. So wcchapel.org/50. You could also, we've got a table in the foyer. We have people, volunteers that are going to man that table in the foyer tonight. You can fill out a card at that table, drop it in the box. You can share a story verbally. We've got a phone, like an old-looking phone that we all used to have. Even I had one in my house growing up. And you can pick it up, and it's going to have a message, and it's going to go beep, and then you can just share your story. Or you can call the receptionist anytime and just start talking, and Phyllis or Sue or Bert are going to start taking notes. Because what I want you to hear me say is, just share your story. Don't worry about how perfect it is. Don't say, well, I really got to write a perfect 5-paragraph essay and get in. Just start talking. And again, there will be volunteers manning a table in the foyer. Just start talking. Just write something down on a card, because we can always follow back up with you and get more. So tonight, I just want to call for stories of gratitude and glory to God for the great things he has done. And there will be more that we'll share at the annual meeting about the specific events and how we're going to give God the glory and express our gratitude. So, elder nominations, got till Saturday, and then 50th anniversary. This is the year. Let's start talking and giving God the glory and expressing our gratitude. With that, I'm going to send it back to James for an outdoor structure update.
To stay here so I can stay on camera. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have a muddy pit over there. Really excited about it. So the first thing is, we said we'd have the pavers done by first of the year, and the pavers are done. We're pretty excited about having those in. One thing I wanted to share about the pavers was we took a little extra effort on this. And if you go outside, you'll notice that every column, there's a conduit. When that ground was open, I thought to myself, think of anything possible. So I said, I don't know where speakers will go, or microphones will go, or internet will be needed. So we actually ran underneath these pavers conduits, low voltage conduits and high voltage conduits, so that we are future-proofed. In the very front of that, we actually ran a 4-inch conduit for I don't know what, but I hope at some later date, someone will be incredibly thankful that we did that. So where we are now is we are in the permitting process in terms of just waiting for the county to come back to us. We used engineered stamp drawings, engineered load drawings for all of this. So we're hoping that would have streamlined the process. But the county is very exacting. If there's any county people online or in here, thank you. You guys are on it. They find everything, and we're answering all those questions and getting that done. With regard to manufacturing, we are in manufacturing. So our steel's being manufactured in Canada right now, and they are cutting and welding and drilling all the holes. And we expect to actually have the steel here by the end of February. So we're hoping end of February, March, you'll begin to see a structure that will erect out there. Travis is pushing me right now to have something for Easter, and I'm doing my best. Please pray for me, because it comes up in each meeting I have with Travis, so pray for me. Weekly I hear it, and I'm going to try my best to make sure we deliver on that. I also wanted to share a story with you guys. You know, Travis is teaching me a lot about faith and prayer and God's plan. And he says this to me all the time. And God's plan was in action with this outdoor structure. So this is what happened. I was told by several people that the Bradford Pear needed to go. It was growing towards the foundation, and it would be in the way. So as we were working with Williams Landscaping to have the tree removed, I was also told that that tree could have been planted as a memorial for someone's brother. So I called the previous administrator. I talked to lots of people. No one could give me a clear story on that tree. I think it was a Thursday. I was driving to work. I get a text message from Rich Sylvester, and it's a picture of a plaque of the tree we just cut down. And I thought, oh no. So I immediately go to Travis. I said, Travis, I believe, and I have permission to share this. I've talked to him. I said, we cut down Dave Anderson's brother's memorial tree. What am I supposed to do? And Travis, you guys have never been in a meeting with Travis. So Travis tends to look at you and he goes, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I want this to be your problem because you're a pastor. And he says, no. I want you to handle this. I said, okay. So I know Dave Anderson. I called him, did not get him. Left him a message, said, hey, Dave, just give me a call back. Want to discuss something with you. So I didn't hear from him. That night, I just agonized, and I finally figured out what I wanted to say in an email to Dave Anderson. And I write this very long email. Dave, I'm very sorry. We want to do everything we can to make this right. And I'm going to read you what he sent back. He says, good morning. Sorry I missed your call. Happy to talk sometime today. One of my brother's favorite quotes was, don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things. This is no big deal. And if you don't know Dave Anderson, he's not been a part of the church for some time. And when I spoke to Dave, he said, the care, the consideration all of you gave this situation, that's a reason why I'm coming back to the church. And I thought to myself, yes, there's applause, yeah. And I thought to myself, God's plan. Here we thought we did something so damaging, but Jesus knew we were going to cut that tree down. He knew everything we were going to do, but what I didn't know was one of our brethren would be coming back to the church because of it. And it's just a great story, and it's a testament to what that structure is going to be and how it's going to touch so many people's lives. Hopefully for 50 years to come. I hope in 50 years at the 100-year anniversary, I'm an older guy that can still get around, and I can be under there to smile about what we did there. So that's it for the outdoor structure update. Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Luke. So we did replant the tree. It's planted right over here off of the east entrance. And it was kind of funny because when I took this picture, I said, oh, wow, the mulch looks like a heart. Like, what a unique place to put that tree back. So we're actually going to be putting a plaque back out there honoring his brother, and we're really excited to be able to do that again for him. Thanks, Luke.
Well, those are your 3 updates for this Chapel Family Conversation. And as I said, we named these conversations because we want it to be just that, a predictable quarterly opportunity where we can gather together as a family of faith and ask questions, get information, share feedback. I said this at the staff meeting this afternoon. My only desire is that we become more and more like the church Jesus intends us to become. So you won't hurt my feelings. You won't say something that upsets me. Whatever you want to ask, whatever you would like to share, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. If I can answer the question, I've got our tremendous leadership team here, and I'll make sure I pass it off to them. But because we probably have more people attending this meeting online than in person, we'll try to repeat the question as best we can and then answer it. So first, go ahead.
You mentioned you want to have new and improved stuff for Terry Law.
Yes, top secret stuff.
Please do not get him distracted from our Sunday school class because he does such a tremendous job and gives us skills for when we meet people who have questions of faith or maybe challenge the faith to better respond. And I had a situation earlier this year where this person came out of nowhere asking me, I blew my mind because I didn't know why she asked me. She asked me about faith and something to do with the Bible, and she couldn't read it because it's King James and they talk funny. And some of the skills I learned in his class, I was able to pass on to her. What she did with it, I don't know. But please, don't load him up so much that he gives up Sunday.
Jay, you have my word. I will not load Terry up so much that he gives up Sundays. And I'll just use that to springboard off into, every pastor that gets in the pulpit here at the chapel spends a lot of time preparing for the sermons. But you may have heard this before, no matter how good the meal is, you can't just eat once a week. And so that's why we want people to be in groups. We want people to study the Bible in community where it's not just a one-way communication from the pulpit, but to be able to ask questions to sharpen each other. And I know that happens in Terry's class, and I'm so glad you take advantage of that. It happens in our small groups. And so if you're not in a small group, part of our discipleship strategy is connect to Jesus in corporate worship, but then grow in a group and serve Jesus in his community. So thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about our discipleship strategy, Jay. Any other questions or comments or feedback?
I have some from online.
All right, go ahead, Luke.
So I have a few questions/comments. One from earlier on. It's a question, but could just be a comment if we haven't ever thought about it. Sharon was asking, do we ever consider flashlight candles for kids at Christmas Eve so that they don't spill wax?
That's a great question. So I'm going to bring in our lead associate pastor and head of our family ministry team, Rich Sylvester.
Part of our discipleship strategy is teaching kids to work with candles on Christmas Eve. We can certainly consider it. We haven't to this point. And my sons grew up here. They love hot wax on Christmas Eve. So there may be some on the carpets or up on the chairs, but man.
Tell them about Sophia and Hudson this Christmas Eve. My daughter sat with the Sylvester. I don't know. I wasn't there. I just heard there was quite the scrum over there with the Sylvester family.
They were, so even as our kids get older, and both of ours, we have 2 in college. Well, you have 1 and I have 1. They were trying to see who could keep their candle lit the longest, so they were trying to blow each other's candles out the whole time.
Very spiritual children that we've raised.
Silent night. So it was a great time.
Thanks. Next question online. This is kind of a comment. I mentioned that where it is, but Claire said could be helpful to list who the current elders are and their terms. I told her it is on the website, but I had said it would be good for everyone to know that. So if you wanted to reiterate anything on that, Trav.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds great. And I love that the leadership team, we hit our time, so we got plenty of time here. So I'll bring the current elders up, make sure they introduce themselves. But as Luke put in the chat online, who the current elders are, when they were elected or appointed, and what term they're in, is all on that website where you would nominate someone for the elder. But if you're an elder, please, in your attendance meeting, come on up here, and I'd love to have everyone introduce themselves and say what year of what term you are in. I'll start with John Ewing. I just got to go to John Ewing's retirement ceremony. So congratulations, 24 years in the United States Army. Thank you for your service, John.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. So John Ewing, and I am in the second year of my first term.
Jeff Bauer, and Travis mentioned me earlier. I am in the last year of my first term and will be starting my next term in May?
May 1st.
April, May, yeah.
John Perkins, I'm in my first year of my second term.
Dave Hart, I'm in the second year of my first term.
Not sure. I'm Carol Sale. I finished Jeremy Martin's third year, and so I'm in the first year of my second term, I guess.
My name's Ryan Bruce. I'm in my first year of my first term.
All right. These are our current overseers, and we thank you all for what you do at our church. Thanks for that question, Claire.
And one final question online. I know the total number of money known was spent on Agape. Do we know how many people that number represented? We may not, but I told her that. But if we do, just wanted to ask.
We will get that for you. Luke someone gave it to me right before Christmas, but I don't want to state it incorrectly. So Luke may be able in the booth to send a couple text messages and get that. And if you do, Luke, please interrupt me and tell me. But I don't want to. I have a number in my head, but I don't want to do what is affectionately called in the pastoral community evangelistic. And pastors I'll show some pastoral restraint. We'll get you the actual number. Great question. Anyone in person or online?
I was going to say, as an overseer in my fourth year, I just want to say that the leadership team and James and the whole staff here, revenue is God's mission, but we can control some expenses. Not all expenses, but we can control, and y'all do a great job of controlling expenses here. I'm a business guy, debits and credits and, red ink and black ink. And I just want to, from what I've seen over the last 4 years, the things you can control really well. And
thank you.
I appreciate that, and hopefully everybody does.
Thank you very much, John. Thanks. Luke, are the microphones doing a good job for the online group?
Yes, they are.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, and let me just say this, and I just so appreciate John and our relationship has grown over the past several years, and he's serving as the chairman of the elders now. We have a stewardship parameters as a staff team that we look at, and so when you think about the money that God has entrusted to you, that you are then entrusting back to Him, and that gets entrusted back to Him through the leadership team at the chapel. And we take that so seriously. One of our stewardship parameters is we look at every dollar as if it was the widow's mite. And that could be the last thing someone had to live on, but they trusted it back to God. And we want to take the stewardship of God's resources here that seriously. So that's something that the leadership team thinks about. And we love that we work at a generous church. And as John said, there's some things we can control, some things we can't control. And so we do trust Jesus, and we look to His word for how to steward those things that He does entrust back to us. So thank you. It's a great partnership. Yeah.
Praise for Hunter's team for the men's breakfast. Just all the people that are involved. And that includes Rocco, that provides the place, because it has shifted, certainly, a couple of times. So just a lot going on there, and it's just a wonderful day of the week for a lot of guys.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, I love seeing how Hunter and that team, they've really reclaimed, believe it or not, the men's breakfast goes all the way back to the 1950s when Dick Woodward was founding the Virginia Beach Community Chapel. And part of his vision, which was so radical back in 1956, was to have something for people not at a church but in the community. To say, we're going to get the Bible, we're not going to get the people to the church, we're going to get the church out to the people. And I think having it in the community, working with Rocco, creating those community relationships has been a really beautiful thing for me to watch it thrive with those, with some of the original vision that our late pastor emeritus had, to have something in the community and for the whole community, not just something for your specific church at your specific church. So I'm glad it's working for you, Greg. And if you don't know this, Greg was on the treadmill this morning at Ironbound Gym. He's there a lot. So Greg, when I'm your age, I want to be in as good a shape as you, man. You're crushing it every day. So good job, buddy. Yes, memory.
Is there any hopes for the women's breakfast?
That's a great question. You know, we have a lot of women's Bible studies. We've never actually done a women's breakfast. So, oh, the quarterly. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking you were thinking about weekly. So yeah, is that some feedback you would like to give me, Memory?
I've got another idea too. But
I'd love to hear it. Thank you.
Name tags.
Name tags
for everybody.
on a Sunday morning?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Used to have them.
Trav, with the agape number?
Oh,
The question was how many people we serve, not.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh,
so
okay.
Tim, again, just I love our free-flowing meeting here. Tim is our newest pastor on our team. He serves as the associate pastor of adult ministry, and that role supervises small groups, outreach, under which Agape is housed, and our pastoral care and connections ministry. And then Tim himself is particularly going to be hands-on with our college ministry. So those are Tim's areas, so it's appropriate. Agape under Tim. Tim, tell us about Agape.
Yeah, so agape is under me, but I did not have an answer. So I did what anyone should do. I asked Elizabeth, who did have the answer. And the answer is 653 individuals.
To God be the glory. Thank you, Tim. Yes, Mandy. I may run the mic to you on this one, Mandy.
Small group opportunities.
Hold on one second. You're a little far from the mic. I want to make sure everyone gets you. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Regarding possible small group opportunities, can everybody hear me okay? Okay. Regarding small group opportunities, do we have any ideas or thoughts about expanding Sunday morning Sunday school classes? I know in the past we've done Dick Woodward's Mini Bible College for a Sunday school class, and then we've done Terry's done so many of them. I was wondering if there's any possibility of more coming up, or I know in our last small group meeting we also talked about cataloging small group opportunities, because there's so many wonderful opportunities for people to get plugged in, like Greg leads the Celebrate Recovery, John Perkins leads, and his wife lead Financial Peace. We have a new group starting that's divorce care, and I was wondering if we're going to be advertising those so people can get plugged in and jump in, and then also the Sunday morning Sunday schools.
Great, thank you, Mandy. And if you want to know who's going to be manning the table for the stories, Mandy is. So with her sweetness, of course you want to go see Mandy and share your story about what Jesus has done in this place and give the gratitude to him. And Mandy will be happy to receive that. Tim, would you like to take that question?
Sure. Yeah, so I think part of the reason I'm here is because Elizabeth and Dale and Hunter, they do a lot. There's a lot of things that fall under them. And one thing that we noticed, the different discipleship opportunities aren't always very well known. And it's not easy to know we have this offering or we don't have that, and maybe there's some gaps or there's a lack of clarity on how people can really grow best. And so hopefully I'm increasing their capacity, and then as a team, those are the questions we're asking right now. And so we're working on trying to have increased awareness of all the current offerings that are already happening. And some of those things, people are looking for something that we're doing that they don't know about, right? Somebody just recently was telling me who's very plugged in, they didn't know that we had Grief Share. We have one here. And so they were trying to start another version of something we already had. But we're also trying to think of bigger picture things, whether that's a Sunday school class, maybe larger scale events for discipleship, and helping people kind of grow from step to step. Discipleship is a lifelong process of becoming more like Jesus. And so wherever you are, if you've been here for a year or 30 years, if you've led a small group or if you've just kind of been coming because you like the music and you like to listen to Trav, like whatever you're at, we want to make sure that we're helping you grow to the next place and the next place, and it's a constant level of growth. So those are the questions we're asking. We don't have a lot of firm details yet, but all of our team's goals for 2026 that we agreed on, a lot of them are focused on answering those questions.
Thank you, Tim. And yeah, just want to express gratitude that we've been able to hire Tim, fill that key role. And I think if I was to summarize a little bit of what Tim said there, part of hiring Tim was with the intention of increasing our discipleship capacity in the area, among our adult population, as well as increasing our discipleship capacity among kids, students, and families. So I know Rich has a lot of things he's working on in terms of, we're both in the thick of it right now, but know a lot of other people are, but parenting teenagers, and what does that look like? And Rich has been working hard with the consortium on this marriage retreat. And so to have an associate pastor that is able to think discipleship for families, and a second associate pastor that's really able to pull the great work that was already happening with Elizabeth, Hunter, and Dale to pull that team together and help them think strategically and set goals and manage all that. We're so grateful that Jesus has expanded our discipleship capacity, and we look forward to seeing what that expansion can mean in people's lives with following Jesus. So, Tim, thanks for being here, and Rich, thanks for the role that you've dug deeper into with families.
And just Terry Lowe online even said he works in Agape. That 653 may have been even just transactions, more people represented than just those transactions. So just a quick note about that.
Keeps getting better.
One question online: will there be a church-wide study this year? So Tim might be back up here.
Great question. This was on my agenda with Tim at our last one-on-one meeting. So Tim,
We didn't exactly answer it, but we did talk about it at our last
that
one-on-one
is true.
meeting. That comes up. We did a small group leader training in January, and I think Butch Palmer asked if we wanted to do it, and then I asked the small group leaders if they wanted it. They all said yes. So we're going to work on it. We're going to see what that looks like. I think we like the idea, and so I'm hopeful the answer is yes, but we don't have any definitive plans yet.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I'll just say one testimony. My small group actually came out of a chapel-wide study that was 6 weeks, but we kind of found each other, found we liked each other, and we stuck with it. I think it's 4 or 5 years since that chapel-wide small group study, and we're still a group, and I think there's 25 kids when everyone comes, just when every family is there at small groups, so that can get a little chaotic and your house can get a little messy, but it's great. So I am certainly pro those chapel-wide small group studies, being in a group that was birthed from one of them, and look forward to seeing us bring those back. I've thought about one for the 50th anniversary, but I also there's a lot going on with the 50th, but we'll see. There may be a chapel-wide study that could help us process some of the 50th anniversary as well. No promises, just letting you know I have thought about it. I have an idea for the study. Stay tuned. Any other questions or feedback? And anything online, Luke? If you're online, feel free to type in.
Yeah, those are all so far. A lot of good comments. There's up to 59 households online, so there's a good chunk of people online. Okay, here we go. From Claire, years ago there was a father-daughter dance that was well received. Any thoughts on bringing that back as well as a mother-son dance?
Ooh.
I don't know who that falls under. Maybe Rich or Tim, or just thoughts, Trev.
Yeah, no, good question. One of the things we were working through in our all-staff meeting today, we're at another interesting size junction as a church, that we experienced growth over the past couple years, and we're working through some of the implications of some of that growth. Every church wants to grow until they grow and realize, oh, that growth leads to sometimes some difficult choices being made. And one of the things at our size is we can almost do anything that we put our attention to. But you have to make strategic choices in order to align resources and priorities. And I did love the father-daughter dance. I think I went to it one time. But there are many different ministries that we could do that might be good ideas, but might not be the God idea for right now. And I think right now the movement that I'm really seeing is the dance that we're putting on for people in our community with all kinds of different abilities. So we'll be hosting our Night to Shine event in February, and that's been something new, and that's a heavy lift. As you heard Rich say on a Sunday, I think it's 500 volunteers, because every honored guest gets assigned a buddy. It's a 1-to-1 buddy ratio, as well as all the other things around the building. And so right now, to answer that question, I think that is the space that God's calling us to move to. And if out of that other things come, great. But for right now, I think that's been a big enough bite at the apple for the staff to chew on. And I'll leave it at that for now. Maybe a dovetail on that. I can get Rich up here. We've been learning a lot of things with some of the family events, and Rich has a great term that he uses where we like these what we called chaos events. Tell them about the chaos events, Rich. And this is another way we're trying to put parents and kids together in discipleship.
Yeah, over the last few years, you've noticed we've tried to engage parents with their kids at a lot of things like VBS, or even our 2 years ago at our nativity event, we had, besides the Bruce family's animals on the stage, we had family, and we had, parents and kids. And there's a lot of kids like the chaos, but we found we weren't really doing discipleship as much as we were just having a great time. And so we've been trying to figure out which events can we figure out how to create discipleship opportunities, but also have that big feel. Like VBS this past year, we broke down into 3 groups and moved families through in smaller units so that kids could actually pay attention and learn, and how do we help parents engage their kids in what they're doing. But we also noticed that some, like some of Travis's daughters, complained that, well, we like it when we can just run around and be crazy and do whatever we want. And so one of the things we're working on is trying to bring back some quarterly, we do call them chaos events, where you have bounce houses and crafts and food and fun, and people hear about Jesus, but really they're just hearing, man, chapel's a great fun time. I'm welcome here. this place wants me here, and I can have a good time here. And then we get them to come back for some more intentional discipleship units. A lot of times what we do is we use a question, what is winning for an event? We like to think through that strategically. So we may have some events this year, like a block party, where winning is we had a really good time. And then we're going to have events like VBS, where winning is we helped families disciple their children in this environment, And so what the winning statement is will change for different events, but we are bringing back some chaos events.
Thank you.
So tell Leela and Ruthie they'll get their chaos coming.
Thank you. Leela and Ruthie's dad will be excited. Any other questions or comments or feedback?
Since the elders are overseers, maybe we could have a little bit more awareness of who they are. Pictures, I don't know, but something that, so that if, when you're in some sort of a role on Sunday mornings to greet people or something, so that we can have the, more of a feel like we have a contact with the overseers, because I couldn't name them.
Thank you, Martha. I know not everyone is an extrovert, so I will give it some space. We probably have time for one more, maybe two more questions. Jay just asked how my folks were doing. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you asking. As many of you know, my dad had a stroke on September 25th this year, and that's led to a lot of cascading issues. And I say he's not doing as well as I want him to be doing, but that's not, and not all of it's bad. So his physical health is not where it was about 3 months after a stroke. What they say is you're about 90% of what you're going to be in the future. So not 90% better, just 90% of what your future will look like. And so his future is going to look different, and that's difficult. At the same time, I'm really grateful for the additional time I've been able to spend with my parents. I lived at their house for 3 weeks this fall. I did not have on my bingo card 45, father of 4, husband to Nina, and 3 weeks at my parents'. But we ate more meals together in those 3 weeks than I probably had in the previous 20 years combined with them. So that was really sweet. I got to see their marriage up close, and they really love each other, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. That was very special. And I continue to be in more regular contact with them because of this. So I give a lot of gratitude for those things, even though the circumstances are very difficult. And I don't think my dad would mind me saying this. He was a pastor. He used me for illustrations my whole life. So, turnaround is fair play. But when I say he's different now, some of it's hard different. He's more limited. Some of it is interesting. He's more emotional. Maybe that's why I'm emotional talking about it. People don't realize it when he speaks. He's very introverted, so he doesn't say a lot. What he says from the pulpit, but that's really all you get. And I'm a fairly extroverted person, and so to see some cracks in his personality and some emotion pour out has been it's been unique. So a lot of surprises for me. And maybe I'll end by saying this. I'm grateful to be a part of an intergenerational family of faith, because a lot of people have walked this road of caring for aging parents before I've started walking this road on September 26th, caring for aging parents. And there's such wisdom in this congregation, such richness of perspective, and I'm coveting being a part of an interdenominational and intergenerational family of faith even more, because I have really learned a lot from generations that have gone before me. So thank you for asking, and we can end on that note. So thank you all for being here, and I'll pray to let us out. Our leadership team will be down front. Like I said before, I hope you know, no question's a bad question, no comment's a bad comment. We just want to steward Jesus' church as faithfully as we can. So if you have something you want to say, please come down front, let us know. If you're online, you can put it in the chat, and Luke will make sure we get every comment and feedback. We're glad to be a part of the chapel family together. Let's pray. Lord Jesus, we are so grateful that you call your church a body, a bride, and a family. And so we do now come before you as your body, as your bride, and as your family, and just say thank you for calling us out of the darkness into your light, and that we can more clearly display your body to the world together than apart as individuals. So knit our hearts closer together. Lead us into that intergenerational, interdenominational dream that you planted in the hearts of our founders all the way back in 1976. It was such a radical idea in 1976 to have a church that was fully committed to both Christian orthodoxy and Christian unity. And we see that it's more necessary now as the world becomes increasingly polarized and as biblical literacy goes even lower in these new generations, to have a church body that is committed to both of those things. So thank you for instilling that dream in our founders' hearts. Would you help that dream to grow in each of us as we steward this beautiful gift called the Williamsburg Community Chapel for your glory. We are so grateful for what you've done, and we look forward to what you will do. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks, everyone, for coming tonight.